Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine, and this is your Fanatics calling or your changeable daily show, I would say. I'm your host, Khalid Mohidin, and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket, as well as this particular show is where fans can call in, give their real fan opinions and real fan reactions. So if you guys want to come onto the show, of course, what you need to do is you click the link in the description and you can call into the show. So that's basically how you guys get to give your opinions about everything that's happening in cricket. Hey to everybody that is joining in now. I'm so sorry about the previous stream, and I don't know why everything went quiet. I thought it was his fault, but it was actually on my side. So, so blame me for that one. I don't know what really happened. I'm still trying to think what actually went down. But technology is technology, and sometimes that happens. So, thank you, Werner. Thank you to all the guys. Thank you to Jessica and Janine in the comments as well for helping me out and telling me that there was no sound, and then we can get this stream going. Before we get going, obviously, don't forget to if you haven't already and you're new to the channel, subscribe, click the notification bell for all future videos. And also don't forget to like, comment, share, and share this to all your fans and friends and let them get in here, let them get on the stream. We're going to have some fans that are calling to the show to give their opinions as well. But without further ado, let's bring on Aditya so he can give us his review of what happened this past week. So welcome to the show, Aditya. How are you doing? Finally sound.
Thank you. It's good to be back as always.
Yeah. How was your week so far?
The week has been all right, but I think we're talking from an IPL point of view. This week hasn't matched the drama of the week before, and it's fair to say that it's been. I hope it's the lull before the storm, the business end of the tournament, because this week really hasn't produced sort of entertainment that we've seen so far in the IPL.
Yeah.
If we're talking about two key games, one would be Delhi Capitals versus Kings 11 Punjab, where Shikhar Dhawan scored his second consecutive 100. It's no mean feat in T20 cricket. He scored 106 of 61 balls, but unfortunately it wasn't enough for Kings 11, who managed to chase it down with 5 wickets to spare, with Nicholas Pooran striking form, making 53 of 28, despite Kagiso Rabada's best efforts, taking 2 wickets for 27 in his 4 overs. Another game standout in perhaps the opposite sense was the Kolkata Knight Riders versus RCB. Kolkata Knight Riders made 85 runs in 20 overs, losing 8 wickets. Mohammad Siraj bowled a dream spell where he bowled 4 overs, took 3 wickets, and conceded just 8 runs. That is record breaking. And we called it a batsman's game, but this week it looks like the fast bowlers have dominated. And of course, RCB chased it down comfortably. And today, CSK versus Mumbai, which is known as the El Clasico of the IPL. CSK only managed 114 on a tiny ground in Sharjah. Their batting backfiring terribly with Trent Bolt bowling a brilliant spell of swing bowling. And then, of course, Quinton de Kock, he scored a fluent 46 of 37, and they chased it down with 10 wickets to spare. So,
yeah. That was a beautiful way of saying it, the fluent 46. That's actually exactly what it was, because for the first time in a long time, we actually see Quinton de Kock actually in this particular innings playing kind of the supportive role for most of the innings, and allowing his partner obviously now the end to obviously take the show and steal the show, actually. A 22-year-old, eh? So it's quite fantastic to see him in action as well. Well, I was liking that because obviously from South Africa's point of view, we want to be able to see that Quinton de Kock has that ability inside of him. We want to be able to see that he has that ability to be able to also hold the innings together and take his time and consolidate the innings, etc. We don't always want to see him. Yes, we obviously always want to see him just smash the ball over the boundary, but it would really help if we can play a few. It makes a big difference if we have then 2 strike batsmen on the top of the order. Like we obviously the fans picked their 11s over the last couple of days, And
Right.
they were all picks going for Yanaman Milano, Temba Bavuma. So we're always saying that because Quinton's a fast-paced batsman, it's nice to have someone like Temba Bavuma next to him on top of the order to like just slow
Right.
things down and just play the straight bat in the power play, like something like similar to how Hashim Amla used to do. He never used to look to
Right.
really clear the fielders, the Indian fielders. He always tried to find the gaps in the power play, which he was phenomenal at. But
Right.
if Gwen and the Cock can play like this as well, to give a guy, if they put Yanaman on the top of the order, it just shows that he can play with batsmen that are not only rock solid, that he can play with batsmen that are free flowing as well at the top of the order. So maybe that's also another option for him. We've got some callers already waiting. Obviously, we know the usual. Abai is here. Walk on his regular walk and stroll. Welcome to the show, Abai. How is it going?
Great to be here. How's everyone?
Really
Very
good,
good,
really
man.
good. So you use these Fanatics calling shows to get your daily exercise in, I see.
I like to multitask.
So, what was your favorite performance from the South Africans so far? Oh, let me ask you, why do you think the South Africans didn't do so well this week?
I guess. Okay, well, that's a bit of a tough question, but
Put you on the
yeah.
spot straight
But
away.
let me start with this though. I think KG is maintaining his form. I think Delhi Capitals decided to rest Anrik Nortje, and they gave Daniel Sams a game as a result. But I would imagine that Nortje will get back in the playing 11 maybe next game. Uh,
Yeah,
and then I think
because I think
next
they
best
kind of a
performance.
shoe. It looks almost like they kind of a shoe into the knockout stages already. The DC
Right.
seems
Yeah.
like that.
And then I would say my other favorite performance was Chris Morris, 1 for 16. I mean, none for 16, but he bowled made an over and economy rate of 4. So even though he didn't take a wicket, I think he kept the pressure on for KKR, and and that was instrumental for the win.
Yeah. What is it? What is it about CSK? They almost look like they're depleting as games go by. Like they almost look like they're losing their energy. What do you think it is, Aditya?
It's a couple of things. One is there's been pressure from the outsides to have a couple of young Indian players play. After the last game, which CSK lost to Rajasthan, Dhoni was criticized for saying that some of the younger Indian players didn't have the spark necessary to push out some of the senior players in the 11. So he gave two young players a chance today, and they were both gone in the first over. So he was proven right, and the pressure didn't really work. But I think what's happening is that generally I think the morale is low. Having lost, and there's also that legacy that they have to maintain. Of having been the only team that has made it to at least the playoffs in every single season, and they've won the title thrice. So they're the most consistent, most successful team in the history of the IPL, and to produce some of the performances that they have, not entirely their fault. I think they've probably suffered a bit more compared to the other teams. Because they started training at least 12 days late. Having got 13 cases in their team, and with some of their players having played international cricket after an entire year. I'm sorry, IPL cricket after an entire year. So I think they've sort of had more obstacles to overcome compared to other teams, and that reflects in their performances.
So we've got another caller waiting for us, Valencia, a new caller on the show that hasn't called in before. I'm just going to ask you quickly to unmute your mic if you are ready. Valencia, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing fine in yourself.
Okay, fine. We are going to see your face. I thought you were. I thought you were going to have just the profile picture today. How are you doing? Let me
I'm
just move
doing
this out
good.
of the way. Yeah, I'm just going to move this out of the way. Really nice to hear from you. So let's talk about. I know obviously you got to see Quinton de Kock play today. Let's ask you start with that. Obviously, what was the most exciting thing about that performance for you today from Quinton de Kock?
Since I've been watching this tournament, I've been watching some of the matches when I don't have exams. Uh, it was incredible because for some reason when I saw Tahir in, I thought he might get a wicket there, but I really like the partnership between Quinton and Shani Kishan. It was incredible. I loved
Yeah.
it. I also I wanted Quinton to get to 50, but then at least they won.
Yeah.
I
Does
don't
it
know.
does it make you happy to see Quentin de Kock be able to take a seat back in a way? I mean, obviously it was quite a quick 46 that he scored in 30 balls, but from that perspective, do you think that it was good to see him like sit back a bit and maybe play that type of supportive role at the top of the order? Unusual for him, but did you enjoy being able to see that?
Yeah, I enjoyed his batting as well as when he was wicket keeping. I really enjoyed it. It was amazing today. Very
Yeah.
amazing.
And I want to ask you one more thing actually. Who is your favorite South African players that you really like enjoy watching? Generally speaking, just out of curiosity.
It has to be Lungingiri, even though he's been out
Okay.
of the squad for some quite a time, but he's
Cool.
really my favorite.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. So obviously he's part of that obviously strike bowling trio that we have in this country at the moment. That is just phenomenal. So it's really good to see them playing. We got another caller waiting for us, Hano. If you are ready, just give me a thumbs up and I'll add you to the stream. And cool. Hano, welcome back to the show. How's it going? Well, it's good to see you again.
Excellent to be here. Thank you, Carly. It's always enjoyable. Wonderful to get different insights all over the globe from all the fans. It's lovely to listen to the show and hear what you got to say.
Yeah. So let's get into your opinions right now and what you thought about the South Africans this week. I don't know if you want what particular topic do you want to give your say on specifically, because there wasn't a lot to talk about really.
Well, I think it's quite relevant. Well, maybe touching on three subjects or two subjects or under the umbrella of bowling. In the IPL, as we know, it's almost a hybrid entertainment sport event where we might even see that featuring in entertainment channel like a WWE in the future, and normally that means that the bowlers provide just the cannon fodder, and over the years we've seen that the spin bowling has basically dominated, and now for the first time we see true pace making an impact as any batsman, or has become such a material factor of late that it's I think so exciting, because it's not just about who can hit the most sixes and who is the best bowler, which happens not to be all out pace. Before Rabada, there wasn't that many true paces or paces that average more than 140 k's that made such an impact. But I'm not sure if anybody noticed, but I saw last night in all-time IPL history, Kagiso Rabada is now the topping the records for the lowest strike rate and the lowest average, which in my view would be the most significant stats for any bowler when you look at in terms of impact made. And it's phenomenal. His consistency is just as good as any of his spell. And he's like, as a South African fan, you obviously you just can't help to think, he must have fired on 20% or first year during the World Cup for 7 games in a row, and that's 7 games consistently not firing. And here we have got 2 full seasons of IPL where every single game he produces goods like he's a machine. And I think that for me really stood out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. It's just a guy all of a sudden. He popped up, he disappeared, and he popped up with a mask. I was like, he's proper ninja today.
There's a lot of my art. But yes, I think I welcome this IPL to the return of the bowler and the return of true pace, in terms of making it an even contest. I think that's the best I'd like to make.
Yeah. So Aditya, I actually want to ask you about that point, because I want to know, seeing that when Kagiso started playing IPL cricket, he just completely started dominating instantly. From your perspective as an Indian fan from India, what was the reaction from the fans with regards to Kagiso Rabada when he came into that tournament and you guys saw him play in the IPL for the first time? Obviously, you would have known him from internationals, but I mean, to see him in the IPL is a different ball game altogether, of course. So, what did you think of that? Or what did the fans? What was the fan reaction like when Kagiso came to the tournament?
I think KG's always been a popular cricketer in India. And right from that series in 2015, when South Africa came to India, he was a part of the limited over squad then, and he was hugely popular because his bowling was fantastic. I think generally we do appreciate fast bowlers in India. Back in the day, Alan Donald was very popular also.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very excited to see KG get an IPL contract. And to see how he's really turned it around for Delhi. I think Delhi was consistently ranked like 6th or 7th or sometimes even 8th in the points table for at least the last like 6 or 10 years. And since he's come to the side, he's really made a difference. And from 2018 onwards, they've started making it to the playoffs. And I have no doubt that this time they'll perhaps make it to the final and possibly win the title also. So he's recognized as one of the main cogs in that Delhi Capitals wheel.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring on another caller. So we're going to have 6 on the screen, guys. Ashwani, as per usual, calls every show, and I love it. Thanks a lot for tuning in, bro. What you want to say today?
Hello, friends. How are you?
How's it? Good and you, man.
Yeah, I watching today's game. I think the performance today CSK gave it is on the cards for them, because for few years they playing with same sort of cricket with same strategies. I think it is good in Chennai, but they have to change it. I think this loss is good for them in future.
So what do you think they have to do? What can they do to change it now to get some better performances?
I think they should bring in some new players. I think they should leave Shane Watson, some old players from their duties. I think Harbhajan, it's time for him to retire. Shane Watson, I think they all passed their prime. And MS Dhoni have also to think about his decision. If he want to play continues, or if he want to be in the CSK's management. I think he should be in the management.
Okay, that's an awesome point. And Abai, from your point of view, what you want to say next? Obviously, you didn't really have a lot of chance to speak right now. Everybody else was talking, and I know you love to speak.
Not a problem. So all that I wanted to add is, considering CSK won the IPL a couple of years ago, you got to look at their average age of players, and that's well above 30. So you'd have a feeling that they can only last for so long, and I think this IPL just adds evidence to that fact. And they've been they just haven't been their usual strong side that we know them to be, and it's kind of understandable. Like Watson's definitely past his best, and then I think even the key players haven't clicked to a great extent. So that's where I stand when it comes to CSK.
Ashwani, you want to do something?
I want to say that CSK has to pick some young players, like they pick Sam Curran. They have to pick some young Indian under 19 players, so that they can build their team for the future.
Yeah, that's an awesome point. Okay, cool. Thanks a lot for tuning in, Ashwani. If you want to come on later again, just click on the stream again. But thanks a lot. We're going to talk about other things right now. Thank you. Let's get into. Okay, we've spoken enough about the IPL, I think, this week. And Valencia, I know if you want to speak about this particular thing, it's going to be a little bit controversial, but it will be nice to hear from a fan's point of view with everything that's happening. And this is from Arno's suggestion to talk about a little bit about what's happening with Cricket South Africa. We're going to talk a little bit about everything that has happened. I think from a positive spin, with regards to having international cricket again, I feel that's kind of saved us as Proteas fans at the moment, because to know that we're going to have some international cricket. But Hano, let's start with your side. What is your opinion on everything that has happened currently, and how do we get out of this?
Well, of course, going with the general assumption that everybody noticed about the decision made, or the announcement made today, that the entire CSA board will now be dissolved, which was, basically what all stakeholders have been calling for since, I suppose, since late last year when Tabang Moro was suspended. I do know that that's the main reason why the interim CEO, Jock Fall, who enjoys a wide popularity with the players and the associations and the stakeholders and the sponsors, I do know that was his main condition to remain on. If the board can dissolve, he will remain on. It has now finally happened. So in my view, this is probably one, in terms of a timeline of historical events taking place in South African cricket, it's as big as anything in terms of the right way forward. I'm extremely optimistic because you know how things go. If the bathtub is contaminated just with a little bit of something bad, you have to throw out everything to make sure you get clean water again. And that's the main reason why I am celebrating today, because finally it sounds like sanity has prevailed, and this will definitely bring back the sponsors that we have lost and attract new sponsors again. And it goes to show that let's say the game of cricket in South Africa has prevailed versus, shall we say, political interest that has unfortunately been part of the DNA on the board over the majority of this century.
Yeah, so I'm going to read out a press release that actually just came through about an hour ago. I don't know how you're going to feel about it, but it says Cricket South Africa can confirm that the Members' Council met on Thursday to discuss various matters, including what is in the best interest of cricket as well as the organization. The meeting was an analysis of several scenarios that were put on the table by the board, who met on Wednesday. Beresford Williams and the other board members, who are also Members' Council members, recused themselves from this Members' Council meeting in accordance with the CSA Code of Ethics to follow for the transparent and obviously confidential discussions amongst the rest of the members to take place. CSA can confirm that no board members resigned last night, and that the media reports that stated that I don't know how to pronounce Devon Dharmalingam, a director of CSA, had resigned, are inaccurate and inappropriate. So from that, so that's what CSA. So this is my issue at the moment, because I feel that the media and CSA are not on the same wavelength. So like that's where I was sitting. Yeah, it's like the same way when I was sitting there with regards to announcing the England tour. Initially, when we went to the Cobras launch, we got information based on the fixture list that they had penciled in, that the first 5 games were going to be played away. So that was the first understanding that we got. And so we were like, okay, cool, there's going to be a November 2nd start, but those games, 5 games away, means that there's probably going to be an England tour at the start of November.
Right.
Because obviously we knew already that all the games were going to happen in Cape Town, obviously because of the security and with regards to obviously COVID-19. To get the bio bubble going in the 2 places was the best place to do it, was in Cape Town. So that was the understanding at first. Then there were reports that came out that said, no, the tour has been confirmed, and that the government approved it. Then it was, no, that Home Affairs approved it. Then it was like, no, Home Affairs didn't approve it. Why are people trying to put pressure on Home Affairs to make a decision? So like it's just like a constant spin. So then the Home Affairs approved it and said, yes, okay, cool, that's fine. Then the government had to approve it, and the sports minister had to approve it because of obviously everything that's happening in the board with regards to Cricket South Africa. So there's so many things that are, I don't know, if there's maybe leaks everywhere, left, right, and center that's maybe giving the wrong information out. I don't know. But like you said, it looked so clear that the people were going to step down, and now we get a press release to say that there was no resignations last night. So I don't know what's going on at the moment. And I tried to only talk about it, and that's why I only spoke about the England tour a couple of days ago when Cricket South Africa themselves said, look here, it's confirmed. Here's the tour, it's happening this days, and I had all the fixture lists. So it makes it very difficult for us. It makes it very difficult for us, actually.
It's quite disappointing. But I actually follow the dots, what you are saying, in terms of, shall we say, it sounds like it's an unsynchronized situation now with the media as well. It comes back to stakeholder engagement and management. Again, perhaps not being as it should be. And what I'd like to point out is that the leverage that, shall we say, those who want the Proteas and who want to sit on the board with an agenda only to grow the game and the game of cricket in South Africa. I think it's safe to say that there are those on the board who's got more than that agenda, and those who are pro the game. And when it comes down to saying that those who are having a double agenda, how to get them, to follow suit in terms of the right decisions to be made. I think it's important to note that the leverage that we have is basically finances. If there's nothing left to play with, then we can leverage via the sponsors walking away that this is now gone too far, and in that way you can force the hand of the board to resign in one way or another, or they can choose to remain on, but then there's basically no salaries for everybody, as you can understand. On the other side, I think it's I'm a little concerned about this tour of England coming here because it's a money spinner. As you recall, last year we gave way to finances for the English tourists to buy tickets ahead of South Africans, and they were. It looked like a home game at Newlands last year, and it was sold out. So they paid in pounds, and it's no secret that South Africans were a little bit upset about the fact that they didn't have the chance to buy a ticket, and the tourists took over. That it gives me an indication that that is a strategy for CSA to get some money back into the coffers. So I think our leverage has gone down a little bit there. Maybe I'm cynical, but in my view, it's important for a sponsor or an ex-sponsor to as a corporate citizen to say, look, we are a corporate citizen with a long history of sponsoring cricket in South Africa. We are concerned, as we have mentioned, and they have to go forward and say, look, it's clear that the Funduzi report has indicated that the board has made irrational decisions on a regular basis, and therefore we also recommend that we made a decision that we will only return if the board has been dissolved. So they have to go bold. And I think that time is not far away. If if CSA does not do that themselves, I think that time is very nearby. It's complicated because SASCOC, who is the governing body of CSA, is intertwined with those some of the SASCOC members, shall we say, are having related interests with some of the board members. That is of a political kind, unfortunately. And I just think we're at the stage where South Africa has now made a turn in terms of saying enough is enough. Enough of political infringement, or shall we say irrational governance, not just from a cricket perspective, but an overall perspective. It's great to see, this is now the time. And I think South Africans are always very resilient, where they actually find a way to change things around. Other countries might just say, look, this is it. We are now going the same route as Zimbabwe. But I think we underestimate the passion of the good people that love the game of cricket in South Africa. And I've seen it time and time again. We were down on the dumps, how we've managed to turn it around. And so it's not just being naive when I say this. It's from past experience that I know we can turn it around. I believe that board will dissolve, and that's the only way we can go forward. And one way or another, I hope it can happen soon.
Yeah, and that's an awesome way to put it. And Mano, thanks a lot for coming on, for giving your point of view. We always love it. You can come back again on Sunday. We'll be going more in depth with regards to international cricket, etc. So you can give a call in on Sunday evening on the podcast too. Thanks a lot for tuning in.
Thank you very much, and
No
thanks for the
problem.
opportunity. I appreciate the time, and thanks for all the good things that you are doing for the game in South Africa.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'll chat to you again soon. Check it. So, Aditya, when you hear that, I don't know if Valencia is still here. I want to actually ask a few things actually about what it has been like from a positive point of view with regards to being a fan. Try to get a. Oh, and we've got the buy also back in the back end. I can see over here. But Valencia, when you are ready, just turn on your camera at the back, and then I'll know if you're ready. We have another call at the back of your Bad Panda. If you're ready, can you please turn on your camera and let me know? Unless you don't want to turn on your camera, are you ready? Just let me know in the chat. Are you there, Bad Panda? Nope, he's disappeared. Okay, cool. So let's bring on Abai. How's it back, Abai? How are you doing?
Yeah, all good. Just a bit tired. So phone was running out of charge, and then I had to pretty much run like 3 kilometers back home. So great to be back. Yeah.
I think from now onwards, you should rather just shoot it from here, where you are in your room.
For future reference.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
are there
now
any
you
questions
have,
in the comment section?
yeah. So we have a couple of guys obviously talking about South Africa, and obviously the things that are happening with South Africa. Janine obviously saying a great thing: need to hit the reset button for Cricket South Africa. I think that is a good point of view, but I think that maybe doing it gradually is a better option. Teacher, what do you think? What would you be your advice? I mean, Indian cricket is run quite smoothly, I would say. Yes, there's corruption all around, and yes, there's problems in politics in every single game all around the country, all around the world. But how does South Africa? I mean, what from your point of view? You're also a lover of the Proteas as well. So, how do you think? And then, Abba, you can go after him.
Sure.
I think there was a period when Jacques Fahl and Graham Smith looked like, they were the main players on the board, and that appeared to be a healthy sign for South African cricket, with Mark Boucher and Enoch Akwe taking care of the national team. And it appeared as if Graham Smith was leveraging his relationships with the Indian Cricket Board as well as Australia and England, to have either the Proteas go there or to have them in South Africa. And it appears as if talks were underway to have similar tours. Let's not forget that earlier this year, South Africa was in India to play an ODI series that unfortunately was not able to happen because of COVID-19. So I think it appeared as if
right? First game got rained out, and I think the other two.
The first game got rained out, and then the South Africans returned because we were all going under lockdown. So I think that was there, and it appeared as if Graham Smith was sort of able to get a few tours, like from the big three, to or away. So I think that'll be important for South Africa going forward, and even more important, I think, is for Cricket South Africa to find a way to manage its finances better. I don't think having a loss-making MSL is healthy for Cricket South Africa. They deserve a better league, and I think if they can go the BCCI way in terms of financial management, I think it'll be helpful.
Then again, that's easier said than done.
100%. 100%.
But it's a good idea.
I think the MSL is a great thing, though. I think to see players from various franchises compete in what's now the flagship T20 league for South Africa, I think that has to continue. I mean, that'll be a key step to improving the international T20 side.
There was also a period of time where some of the PSL investors wanted to invest in South Africa. This was for the global T20 league, and I know Shah Rukh Khan, the owner of the Kolkata Knight Riders, was investing in the Cape Town team. So I don't know what happened there, and why those negotiations broke down. But I think if we could get like a bunch of international investors, putting their money in the MSL, that might attract sponsors and a better media deal and so on, because that was key to the IPL becoming a profitable enterprise. For the first 3 years the IPL was barely breaking even, but after they got this massive media deal, they were able to sort of become profitable again.
I can
Yeah,
give you
see the
some.
main. Okay. Yeah,
I
yeah.
can give you.
Yeah,
I can give you
Khalid, you
some.
can go ahead.
I can give you some
Oh.
insight into that. So initially, when there was the Global T20 League, it was branded the Global T20 League. I was obviously, because I was doing a lot of the coverage for the two Cape Town teams. So basically, Stellenbosch Kings, it was going to be called. I will never forget that day. There's one reason only, and then there was obviously the Night Riders, which was going to be the Cape
Yeah.
Town. Basically, the Cape Town Blitz would have been the Night Riders, and the Stellenbosch Kings would have been the Paarl team. So I went to the Stellenbosch Kings launch. It was the Monarchs at first, and then they had a whole logo reveal. Pretty Zinta flew down. Graham Nicol was there, or Dan Nicol, I think his name. Dan Nicol, sorry, not Graham. Dan Nicol was there, that talk show host on. Yeah, he was over there as well. I mean, I almost got an interview with Pretty Zinta, which would have been a flippant dream come true for me. I'm not going to go into the details about that, but she agreed, but then something happened that it didn't happen. But I was really excited about that. I've always had a huge crush on Pretty Zinta ever since I was a kid. So, so I mean, from that point of view, so when she was there, and then obviously Shah Rukh Khan with the Night Riders, I was like, this is going to be massive. And there were some international Indian companies also investing in other teams as well. So it was so much international investment. Then the tournament, after Harun Logat resigned, after there was some clashes and some politics once again ruined that for us, and everything came crashing down. And that's something to do with TV rights, etc. And obviously not getting SuperSport involved wasn't gonna be the broadcasters of the tournament, and that was going to be a massive thing. So then the whole tournament broke down. It was probably the most embarrassing thing that happened to South African cricket at that time, because it was such a big. Everybody was invested. So much money was spent into having the launches and flying celebrities like them down. The teams, the money that went into the teams, the players that were going to be playing. It was just. I was so excited about it, and this came crashing down. I thought they'll never recover from that, because remember they had postponed it, and then the NSL was supposed to happen at a certain date, then they postponed it again, and then it happened finally. And then the rights went to SAPC to be able to broadcast it, and not to SuperSport. I think it was the last tournament they had Star Sports involved, which was a very good. Yeah, the last tournament that we had. Star. What's that company? I think it's Star in India. Yeah, they got involved with regards to broadcasting it to Indian fans, because they know the Indian fan base is quite big and it's quite popular, obviously. So there are some good signs walking towards there. But I don't think that those big investors, Pretty Zinta, and Shah Rukh Khan will trust South Africa very easily again until we get the right people involved that can be able to communicate. Because Harun Logat had a very good relationship with the Indian public, and with the Indian board, and with a lot of the people in that community. He had a very strong connection over there, and they really trusted him. So I don't know how they're going to sort that out, but that would really help, obviously, get South African cricket back on the map again, and get us some fluctuation in, obviously, with regards to cash. Abai, what do you want to say?
Oh, well, okay, so all that I was going to add was, so it was, I think that, the T20 Global League was supposed to happen in late 2017, but then I think they couldn't find a broadcaster in time, and nor could they find a chief sponsor, so they pretty much it got postponed for a year. So they had a year's time to see if they could sort everything out, and looks like it all fell through. And then the MSL, I think it was kind of a product of hasty planning, because they pretty much kept fans waiting for this big competition, and they just figured something out in the heat of the moment. So I think even though it was a result of pretty fast planning, I think the MSL still has lots of potential. And I think even though it's not happening this year, I think in 2021, if there's less COVID threat, I think it could make a comeback, and I would be looking forward to seeing it again.
Yeah, maybe we should start a Patreon. You guys can all pay for the Patreon. The Cricket Fanatics can buy a team.
That would be amazing.
No, I'm joking. That almost sounds impossible. But with regards to the guys in the comment section, they say CSA has had their fair share of embarrassment these last couple of years. They definitely need the right people to turn things around. People are better with finances as well. You see, I'm going to make a statement because I've dealt with a lot of people at Cricket South Africa. There are a lot of good people in Cricket South Africa. I know that fans are frustrated, and I know that the media is frustrated too, and they're going to just because obviously negative news sells. So obviously there's going to be a point where they're going to write negative is the angle to sell papers and to sell obviously get clicks, etc. But there are a lot of good people in Cricket South Africa that are working very hard to keep everything in place. We've got amazing media managers that are doing their job, working crazy hours to make sure that the players are happy, to make sure that the media and the players have a good relationship, to allow us to be able to do what we're doing. Then we've got people in administrating, people like Edward Koza, doing a phenomenal job at the development level. I mean, we would have seen at the I don't know if you guys watched the launch. I was like, why are they giving a PowerPoint presentation on the whole of development cricket? But when I actually listened to it and sat down again and listened to it, what he was saying, I was like, I need to get away from that negative mindset, because what they're actually showing us is something quite amazing on what Cricket South Africa has actually done with development and grassroots level cricket. And that is so important to the transformation of our country. We put in quotas to be able to speed up the process to help the transformation process go a lot quicker. And that's the reason why quotas were introduced.
Right.
But with regards to grassroots level, I think that's where the real change is going to happen. And at the transformation happens at grassroots level, we'll be giving more opportunities to people. Because at the moment, cricket is it's not necessarily a poor man's sport. It's a rich man's sport. It's not like I would call football is more of a people that are less fortunate can still play football and rugby, because especially in South Africa. So with regards to rugby in the country, Aditya, I don't know if you know how big rugby is in this country. It's massive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a religion in South Africa. It was one of the main usages, or one of the main what is the word I'm looking for? It was one of the main cogs in the revolution of South Africa, from obviously becoming a Republic of South Africa and obviously becoming a democracy. It was a massive push for Mandela with regards to use the Springboks as the symbol to push South Africa into a new generation and a new world and a new type of country. So rugby is a religion here. But for people to play rugby in this country, especially in your younger years, all you need is a ball. You don't even play with boots when you play primary school, grade 2. I think right up to grade 4, you don't play with cricket. I think right up to grade 7, actually, you don't. Maybe grade 7 you do, grade 6. But the first 3-4 years of primary school, or you play barefoot. So you don't really need any equipment to be able to play the sport. It's similar to soccer. In the township, you can see people play with bare feet. They play with a soccer ball, and they can practice their skills, and they can play the game. With cricket, if you don't have a bat, you don't have a ball, I mean, it's difficult to play the sport, especially if you're going to play at school. You're always going to need equipment. You can't. It's not like you're not going to be able to play the sport without. You need equipment to play the sport, and that's the problem, because cricket equipment is very expensive. So cricket is that type of game, and it's an elitist sport. It's just one of those things, and until we give people that are less fortunate the opportunities to play the sport, that's the only way we're going to improve the game.
That makes sense. I think looking at the transformation, I think it's great to see players of different backgrounds getting a chance to play at the highest level. But then again, there's two types of approach. There's top down, and then there's bottom up. So if you were to promote the game, give enough equipment to people in the townships, for example, that'll be a big confidence builder, and they'll be able to push towards greater goals, and as a result, maybe even get a chance to play international cricket. So I think with that regard, I think the bottom-up approach would be more effective. But I think leading up to what's happened now, I think we found a lot of good, promising players. And going back to the rugby, I actually did watch most of last year's World Cup. Yep, it was actually the first rugby I've watched. Officially a Springboks fan. I think Sia Khaleesi's story, it's unbelievable. Like, grew up in an impoverished place, and then he had to walk several kilometers, didn't have any proper footwear, and now he is in charge of um, the strongest rugby team. Like it's insane. Like yeah,
Yeah, no, it's that's incredible because that's exactly what Bad Panda says. Fix grassroots exposure. It's its only way forward. SA Rugby allows scouts to attend the age group provincial trials so that they can get a good chance to succeed. Just to have a look at Sia Khaleesi. He rectified himself in the comments, so I don't laugh.
oh no. The interesting thing was like I said something and then I see the exact same thing like a couple of seconds after that. Like that's yeah, good at reading
Amazing.
minds.
That's 100% true. And that is how we're going to fix it in this country. I did want to ask you because I don't, okay, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I've never been to India. I only hear stories and I've seen documentaries, etc. But when it comes to the poorer communities in India, um, what is India doing? Because I mean, there's a lot of people in India, there's a billion people in India, but my understanding is that there's a lot of different classes. From the guys that told me, from journalists that have traveled here and had a conversation with them, they said the classes are very separate, like very massive. The gaps between the rich, the middle class, and the poor. They said there's almost no middle class in a way. Is that true, or how does it work? How does it work in India? How do you guys get the poorer communities and from a development grassroots level? What you guys do with regards to that? What can we learn from that?
It's very difficult to explain because from the thousands of people that do play professional cricket in this country, we don't know of the millions that are looking for opportunities but don't have access to any. And I think from that sense, MS Dhoni is the poster boy of that guy who comes from a small town and has become like this global superstar. And of course, in the aftermath, there are a number of people who, who've sort of lived in townships, the equivalent of townships and have made it big. Like Mohammad Siraj, the guy who took 3 wickets just the other day for RCB. He comes from a similarly impoverished background. And we do have, and now I think we've got what we refer to as like this tier 2 scouting system, where BCCI scouts are going into smaller towns and are trying to look for talents that they can groom and nurture and eventually have them play in either like some of the smaller state level Premier Leagues for T20 cricket and then eventually get them IPL contracts in the tour. I think they're doing that. But having said that, in the South African context, I don't know how JP Dumini's endeavor to get young cricketers in Mitchell's Plain to take up cricket, I don't know how that's going because I heard about it a couple of days ago.
Very well. The JP21 project is doing amazing things. I've been to a couple of those events that they have at different schools where they get so many young kids to play the game. It's very important, but there needs to be a next step. There needs to be a next thing that someone can bring where these players can feed into so that they can get the right eyes on them so that they can be seen. I'm going to add Ashwani one more time to the stream. Welcome back, bro. Do you want to say anything on this particular topic that we're speaking about? I don't know if you heard what we said.
Repeat the topic one more time.
Yeah, so what we're talking about now is how South Africa can improve their cricket with regards to grassroots level. What we can, because we say that cricket is a very elitist sport. Because at a young level, you need a lot of equipment, expensive equipment to be able to play this sport. Unlike other sports like football or rugby, all you need is a ball and you can play the game from a young age. Whereas in cricket, you need bats, you need pads, you need all of these, especially if you're a batsman. What does India do in the grassroots level to help the younger, poorer kids play the game?
Yeah, first of all, I want to give in my example because I came from a small hometown from northern region of India. So I want to say that cricket is not a cheaper game. First of all, I want to say that because it is not easy to assess for everyone. BCCI, because BCCI is the richest board in the world, they're doing a tremendous job in the grassroots level. Because first of all, the cricketers came from India is come from Bombay, Delhi, Karnataka. But due to the rise of MS Dhoni, cricketers also comes from the small town. For example, Ravindra Jadeja, he's from Saurashtra. Then R.P. Singh, he's from Raebareli, is a small town in UP. Many more cricketers. Praveen Kumar, Aditya gives the example. It is due to the first of MS Dhoni's impact and BCCI's more input level towards grassroots structures in the small towns. Uh, I came from Dharamshala. You listen about Dharamshala Cricket Stadium. First of all, in Himachal, cricket is played very less. For it is played in main cities in like Shimla and localities as well. So due to the rise of MS Dhoni, the local town guys like us, they also think about that we can play for India. That is the effect of MS Dhoni. And one more point I also talk about in the game. You need heroes. You need heroes. It's not about you say we. I want to become fast bowler. When I was young, my hero was Dale Steyn. Okay? You need heroes. So MS Dhoni is hero for town boys. Many youngsters from small town follows MS Dhoni. That's my point.
Thanks a lot. That's an amazing point, and I'm gonna add to that point now. Thanks a lot for phoning in. Do you want to stay on the line, or are you good to go? Okay, cool. He's good to go. So let me explain something to you, because I mean I know there's a lot of guys that comment on YouTube about transformation, and when we were making our selections, etc., there were a lot of people saying no, transformation messes up the game. So I just want to give a quick brief thing before we say goodbye. I just want to give a quick understanding. So in India, because there's not, I don't think, because I've never been, but there's not a lot of people that are from different races, right? Whereas for example, in South Africa, because of the background on our history, because of apartheid, and what apartheid did was it kind of suppressed people of color. So people of color didn't get the same opportunities that white people did. Okay, so that's just a brief history lesson that people need to know, and this happened for a lot of years. So apartheid's been around longer than it hasn't been around. So the problem of that is we're gonna always be catching up to that. So what happens is, for example, for me it seems pretty clear. People ask, well, how come South Africa's never had a black African batsman that has scored a century in Test cricket? Well, we've only really had Temba Bavuma come through the system that really got an opportunity at the highest level to play. Other black African batsmen have not gotten that opportunities in the past. So what needs to happen is, because white people have kind of had their head start because of apartheid to play international cricket. They've obviously played international cricket for a couple of years ahead. So obviously head starts are always going to make a difference. People of color have kind of started. I think one of our guests on our Square League, one of our stars of the show on the Square League Gully said, it's like starting a race, 100-meter sprint on the 400-meter line. That's exactly how the situation is for players of color in the country. They've kind of started a 100-meter sprint on the 400-meter line, and they're trying to catch up. So the only way Cricket South Africa thought about pushing that far quicker was to give those people an opportunity in the game, to leveling out the playing field with regards to making it 6 players of color that get an opportunity to play at the national level. Now, I think that should have been rather enforced at the lower level. I think it should be enforced in schools more. I think that school cricket needs to have an opportunity. At the top schools need to be able to give opportunities to players of color from disadvantaged backgrounds and give them opportunities.
Agree there.
Yeah. So what I want to know from you, Aditya, is from that point of view, school level cricket in India, are poorer people given bursaries, given opportunities at a large scale in India to have that to level it out? Because obviously it's unfortunate that underprivileged or poverty and poor circumstances is being related to race in this country, because majority of the poverty is in the townships. A majority of the people that are still living in there are either black African or colored. So the numbers are in masses at the moment. So that's why it's related to color. It's not necessarily whether you are disadvantaged or whether you're not. It's more about you can obviously tell the stats are there to say, I mean, 60% of this country is Black African. Already you know that then, and a large, and for years, Black Africans, which is the majority, have been oppressed. So you can think about that's why the quota system has kind of come in. But to go back to my point and my question to you is, from that point of view, what does India do from a schools level to give people that are underprivileged from poorer places, poorer backgrounds, an opportunity to play the game?
See, one thing is that a lot of really underprivileged children don't really get the opportunity to play cricket. Like, you compare the stats for a public school, a government funded school versus a private school, and there is also a category of schools which is sort of known to have a focus on sport, and they've got a coach. They've got a cricket coach who's affiliated with the school and who basically gets students to focus their attention more on cricket as opposed to studies. So it's like they do get their studies done, but most of their focus is on cricket. So that's there as well. But since we're talking about transformation, in India for a long time, we've also had this zonal system in the selection of our team. So, for example, you have in the selection of our national team. So, for example, you have like 3 players who have to be from Maharashtra, 3 players have to come from Karnataka, 3 players who have to come from Delhi.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's been the reality.
That's massive. That's a massive thing that I've just learned now.
That's been the reality of a national team for a really long period of time, up until Saurav Ganguly came in and he really fought against it. He said, this is not the way that we're going to be able to build a world-class champion team. So that's been the reality of our team for a really long time. And let's also not forget that we have the BCCI, which is a central board, and then we have state associations. Most state associations in this country are run by politicians. So the current Home Minister's son, Jay Shah, he's now the treasurer in the BCCI. He used to run the Gujarat Sports Association. His father was a president of the Gujarat Sports Association before he was. It's the same with Delhi. With Delhi, Arun Jaitley was affiliated with the Delhi board, the DDCA, and they had their own fair share of controversy also. So, yeah, it's not entirely smooth sailing in this country, but I think because we have a large population and we produce good cricketers, a lot of these issues are sort of swept under the rug.
Exactly my point. And I see a lot of Indian fans commenting in the comments saying, we must get rid of the transfer system. We must get rid of. That's the problem. That's what's destroying cricket in South Africa. And I'm just looking at them. I'm like, do you guys not have problems with underprivileged people not getting opportunities? I mean, don't you guys have that in your country? It's exactly the same situation here. It's just the problem is that it is associated with race. Sorry, I know you wanted to speak there.
Sorry, can I just say one quick thing?
Yeah.
I've been outside Themba Bavuma's house in Langa, and I've spoken to a number of people in Langa who speak with such pride of all of Themba Bavuma's achievements. Even though later on he spent a large part of his life in Soweto, but the people in Langa, they really think of him as their own, and a lot of kids there are going to take up cricket because of his example.
Yeah, 100% true. Abhay, what you want to say?
See, like about the whole transformation thing, I think when people from outside ask questions, I think it's because they're not as relatively clued up, and then once we provide them with the facts, I think they'll feel more knowledgeable about that topic soon after. I mean, it has to do with the history of the country going back several decades, but it's the whole transformation thing. It's part and parcel of sport in the country. So that's where I'm going to leave it at.
Yeah, and I think that's where we should leave it. I know this conversation took a crazy turn. Thank you, Arno, for that. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks a lot for watching the show. We're going to have another fan call in. We'll have to see how it goes. I'm not going to promise this one, but on Sunday evening, we're going to try to have another opportunity for you guys to call in. Let's see how it goes. We have a massive panel for you. I know Aditya is going to come on for a bit to just give us a review. Abhay, you can join the panel if you'd like. If you'd like that day as well. But we have a massive panel for you. I think it's
What's the topic?
We're going to be talking about the England tour to South Africa, and we got some guys from England that are also going to be talking. So and a lady from England as well that has been on the stream before. You know, Lucy. So she's going to be on there as well. Hopefully, she must just confirm with me. I'm telling her everybody that she's going to be on. and she's busy, but there's going to be quite a lot of people. There's even going to be a special guest appearance from one of the guys that have been on the channel before, that you guys really enjoyed talking to. And you guys really enjoyed. Abai is looking confused and he doesn't know what I'm talking about because you're only going to find out on Sunday evening. So thanks a lot for everybody for tuning in. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Please, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Go to cricketfanaticsmag.com to find out all more information. We have some articles going over there. Abai is going to be doing some great work over the next couple of after the magazine gets launched over the next weeks. That he's going to do. Look, he's looking at me. He's like, when did you tell me that I'm going to do work? Down in the latest issue of the magazine, it's on the link on the screen and in the description. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks, guys, for watching the show. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care, everybody.